Good morning, sons, family, and friends, or whoever might get an opportunity to look at this video. This is my first time posting a video of this nature, and the reason why I'm starting to do this is because I wanted to leave some history. I was thinking about my grandchildren, and I'm very aware of my own mortality. I'm 61 years old, and I was thinking about death, having experienced death myself of a few close people, and how some things go left unsaid or unheard, or you might lose a loved one, and you say, man, I wish I would have got that recipe from my mother for that pound cake she made. And so not wanting, or this is my attempt to not leave anything unsaid, and a way for me to record some history for my grandchildren that I may not get to see or get to talk with, or even for my own children, if for them to see my thoughts on some things that and missed conversations that we had. So I decided to make this video, a little history. But anyway, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and as you know, I'm always taking care of Urias, which is my grandson, by my youngest son, Timothy. And so he's still asleep. So this would give me a good opportunity to venture out and do, I guess, some morning conversation. I think morning is a great time to study the word, to sit back and relax and reflect on your yesterdays, or reflect back on the past, and to set some goals. The morning time is a good time to set goals, and just reflect and meditate on the things, to take your concerns to God, or spend time talking to Him, and reading His Word. It's just a great time, because in many households it's not a very busy time, and you have that time to spend with yourself and to spend with God. So let's get started. My thoughts that I want to share with you are on love, and I want you to know that when you say that you love someone, that it is not just to be taken lightly. A lot of people say, I love you, and they have no idea what that calls for. To love someone is to act in loving ways. And the one thing, if you look in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, it lays out a standard for us to judge our love walk by. And I'm going to talk to you just on one of these steps. It's I'm going to read to you out of the Holy Bible. I think it's the New King James Version, the Woman Thou Art Loose edition by T.D. Jakes. And I'm reading 1 Corinthians 13, which I told you is a love chapter, but I'm just going to focus on this one aspect of love. In verse 5, it says, love does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, and thinks no evil. I think in other versions that it may read a little bit differently. I love the Amplified Bible because I think that it really communicates clearly and uses some synonyms to explain to us what thinking no evil means. But I wanted to focus today with you on just your thoughts and loving someone. We're not going to focus on being rude. We're not going to focus on being selfish, but just your thoughts. And I think that if we focus on our thoughts, that it will spread to other areas. I think that if that love requires that you think the best. I think that it's very selfish. This is just my own interpretation of the word. Whenever we say that we love someone and we're always thinking the worst, the Bible just clearly said love thinks no evil. The Bible also says, focus on what things are lovely and true and of good report. Think on these things. I think that I think that what the Bible is clearly saying is that when you think good thoughts of others, especially those that you love, it takes away from your own frustration. It makes you happier. You don't even have to look at, well, I'm always giving myself for this other person. It You can look at it in a different way. You can say, I'm choosing to think the good of this person. And in doing so, I add to my own joy and my own peace of mind. I remember a comedian, I can't think of his name, he told the story about how his girlfriend he was late coming home, and how his girlfriend was in the house frustrating herself, talking to herself. And I think that that's clearly an example of not thinking what is lovely and true and of good report. When we do that kind of self thought, we provoke ourselves, we give in and to our own anxiety. That nigga, he, he got me bent. He thinks this and he thinks that, and that's not thinking what is lovely and true and of good report. It's not thinking, it's lending ourselves over to think and frustrate ourselves. And I think so often about, I don't think often, but when the opportunity arises, I think about my own frustrations. Two examples. When I go to a place of business, I want to be served, and those that's working in service capacity, I want to be served with a pleasant attitude and maybe with a smile. And but life happens. It happens to all of us. Sometimes people have bad attitudes, not based on us. I mean, we can't really take it personal. Sometimes they're having a bad day. They might feel bad. They might be be sad over losing a loved one, or something happened. They might have uh, pressures at home. I know so often one of my sons will share something that that someone that they know is going through a hard time, and it really, life happens to all of us. And so if we would make the choice to think good and to put our love into practice, after a while, thinking good becomes a habit, and it will not only reflect and affect those around you, but it will spread, and your good thoughts will affect those that aren't necessarily around you. We have to remember that the life that we are given is not for our benefit. We have to remember that we live in a flawed world, and that when we claim ourselves to be a certain type of person, that our attitudes and our thoughts of others should reflect what we claim to be. And it will make a world of difference. And we just have to choose. It's a hard choice. It's a self-sacrificing choice to choose to think well of others when what they're doing does not seem to be so nice. If your spouse or your mate, they choose not to talk to you, if they're quiet or seeming distant, just in yourself, don't get bent all out of shape and think the worst, but give yourself the room and the peace of mind to think maybe they have something on their mind, especially when it comes to men. Men don't always, women, we more readily talk about our feelings. We talk to one another. But men, they're made a little bit different than women, and they don't always want to talk and share with us the things that's going on with them. Each relationship is developed at a different rate, and having a good relationship and a good understanding and good communication is just not something that you walk into. Sometimes you have to develop that. Sometimes the man has to teach the woman, but I always think that women are wise. And I say to women that, hey, we were the one, we turned Adam. We changed his mind in a way, and that shows us how much power that we have. And so we have to be wise women. And I'm reminded that the word says that a unsaved woman can influence, no, that a saved woman can influence an unsaved man, not using the word, but by her wise conversation. And so for my sons and my daughters in the Lord, and for my friends, for anyone that might listen to this, make the choice to allow people to be who they are and where they are, and think thoughts that will not lend themselves to you for your frustration. Just say, oh, they're having a bad day, or, just let what others do. And I'm not saying that you might not have a valid reason to become frustrated, but let what they do not affect you. Let it kind of roll off your back. Learn to let things roll off your back. And always, always pray. God understands the person with whom you live. He understands you. He understands your background, your character. He understands everything totally. The Bible tells us that God knows the end of a thing at its beginning. He knows how it's going to turn out. So, ladies and gentlemen, learn how to take your concerns and your frustrations to God in prayer. That doesn't mean that it has to be a lot of words. God he's so personal that he can, you can just come to him in a very personal way, and he can communicate to you. He can give you understanding. Just all he needs is for you to say, hey, this is frustrating me about him. This is frustrating me about her. God, I'm struggling in this area. Please help me. And I believe with all my heart that God will do just what he says in his word he will do. So, to all my sons, all my daughters, and anyone that hears this, I hope that I have said something that will encourage you. And until I do this next time, you have a wonderful day. Bye bye.